It's fight week. UFC 330 is on the horizon. I can just taste it. I can just taste that second title defense, all those things from my boy Makhachev. He's got the second title. He's got to defend it. My man J-Mo and I are going to break it all down. I notice a lot of people calling you J-Mo in the comments these days. I like that.
I like it. Brother.
My man, how you been?
I am living the dream right now. Let me tell you about this week, Josh Thomson. I mean, we always enjoy being busy. You got a lot of irons in the fire right now, man, which I got a lot of respect for you, man, and grinding all the fronts you're on. But check this out, man. Check out my week. So we're going a little early today, and we'll talk about that. I love it. It worked out absolutely perfect because tonight I'm going to head over to the Apex, and I'm going to go watch Dana White's Contender Series. I love Dana White's Contender Series always, but the CFFC flyweight champion, Bilal Hassan, who looks very much like a future star, is on the docket tonight. So I love that. So I get to go check him out. I get to go watch that man. Then I come home, grab my bags. I head to the airport because I'm flying out to Philadelphia because Friday night, CFFC 159 at 2300 Arena, UFC executives in the house, stacked lineup on UFC Fight Pass. Everybody knows that the UFC brass is going to be in there, so they want to turn in their best performances. So everybody's on edge. And then I stay an extra day, and I'm in the building for UFC 330 on Saturday night. Josh Thomson, there is no MMA fan living a better life than me this week, brother. You know what I'm saying? Dana White's Contender Series, CFFC, UFC, all in 1 week. I'm hyped, brother. I'm hyped.
Do you put your submit like an application for your media credential? Every
absolutely.
Show?
Yeah, you got not every show, but when I can go, I mean, every Vegas show, of course. So yeah, you got to go through and do the whole process.
I'm going to have to try one of these times.
Yes, you should. I mean, you're
approve me?
I mean, the host and the owner of the Weighing In podcast. I mean, going strong on YouTube, building on all the social media platforms. And I mean, I don't know if you heard, the guy might have done some work in the UFC at one point in time. You know what I mean? So I think it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. We'll see, man. I this would have been a fight I would have loved to have went to. It didn't line up, and the UFC had already lined up Islam with a bunch of interviews coming up. So I was like, look, I don't want to step on you, man. You got your fight worried about. And Ian Garry is a very dangerous fight for him. No matter how much people want to write him off, no matter how much people want to talk about, he gets taken down, he's going to get destroyed. I do have Islam submitting him probably before round 3 or in that round 3 scenario. But it could end up being one of those things where he has a hard time getting his hands on him. And that definitely scares me. So those are all things we'll talk about, but let's also talk. There will be no show tonight because I've got some stuff going on. I've got some real estate classes I got to finish up in the evenings this week. My kids started school this week, and that was something they started today. So we were up early. Didn't get done with the real estate thing last night until like 10 something at night. Didn't get home until almost 11. So it's long nights for me, and I'm trying to get as many things in as I possibly can. For those of you guys that are members, I want to let you guys know. We've got the RDR interview dropping next week, the week of his fight. Roman Dolidze, we're going to cut out of the live show that we did. We're going to put that as a separate interview as well. So that'll be posted up. We've also got Euros Medic. He was on the show. He dropped some big news talking about how he actually tore his meniscus the Monday before the fight and was having to walk around and labor around trying not to show fans that he was injured the week of the fight, doing the open workout with an injured knee. The UFC apparently knew about it. They were helping him get therapy. He was getting treatment all week. He went out there and delivered, got the finish in 30 seconds against D-Rod. But he talks about all of that. He also gives his prediction on this week's Ian Garry and Islam fight, as well as who he would like to fight next. It was supposed to be you and I, but I was the very first interview he's done since his fight. So he was a great conversation. He was so fun. RDR was the same exact thing, man. He was hilarious as well. Get his take on the World Cup, get his take on what he thinks of Roman Dolidze before their fight next week. So those of interviews will be available, or they're already available for members only, but also those will be available coming on Monday or Tuesday of next week, the week of their fight. So a lot going on, guys. And also tomorrow, same exact time as today. Tomorrow, same exact time. I got my boy, Jimmy Smith. He's going to join me as well. It's been a while since I've talked to Jimmy. Jimmy was the broadcaster and analyst for Bellator when I signed with them, and he's been in the business for a long period of time, man. Love Jimmy. Jimmy's always a great conversation. So Jimmy and I will be doing a show tomorrow as well at 2 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Central time, and whatever that is on your time. What is that? 11 a.m. 11 a.m. See, when you get to a.m. p.m. and it starts crossing the line there. Yeah, Jimmy's awesome, man. So Jimmy works with BKB. I agree. I do remember that. But look, Jimmy's going to be on the show tomorrow, and we're going to have some fun, man. I've also got a fan for all the members. I've told you guys, if you guys become a member, you guys put your name into a hat, you get an opportunity to jump on with me. And we'll do some FaceTime, and we'll do some talk and some conversation, debate, whatever it is you want to do for a little bit of time. So this Friday, I think it'll be this Friday, or no, tomorrow. Tomorrow in the morning, I'm going to record it, and then we'll probably drop it on Friday. But I'm going to go Alejandro Gutierrez, who's been a long-time supporter of the channel. He's going to be jumping on with me tomorrow. We're going to drop that probably on Friday for all you guys, and just extra material for you guys to listen to. So make sure you guys support us. And I'm also working right now on trying to set that schedule for Umar Nurmagomedov, as he's in China right now, getting ready for his fight with Song Yadong. We're trying to get that booked out right now. So as soon as I can get that, as well as Usman Nurmagomedov, trying to get both of them on within the next 2 weeks. So we'll see exactly how this all pans up, but a lot of material for you guys. That's why it pays to be a member. You guys get early content before everybody else. And hey, let's have some fun with this, man. John, that was J-Mo. That was a lot of conversation.
That was a lot of talking. I want to back up a little bit, and you threw me under the bus there. That hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah, that hurt. But
it cut me deep, Shrek. It cut me real deep.
It cut me deep. You know what I'm saying? Like just a little jab, you know. But mad respect, man. No, like I said, you laid out a lot of the things you're doing, and obviously we have some conversations offline. But all the hustling you're doing and everything you got going, man, I love to see it. Getting more interviews, like kind of opening up. I think fighters feel comfortable, man. Like knowing they're speaking with a fellow fighter, man. You know what I mean? I think that sets them at ease a little bit. Just knows that, hey, I'm talking with somebody that understands everything that I've gone through, everything that this entails. You know, and I think that helps too, man. So I love the interviews that you're having. I'm looking forward to everybody seeing these conversations you had coming up.
You know, in the beginning, I was kind of weirded out by doing interviews with fighters, only because it felt like they only looked at me as a fighter, which is great, which I actually wanted them to respect me as a fighter. But in this atmosphere, it's a little different. You don't want to step on their toes. And I also feel like they criticize us more than they criticize the normal media. If it was you, or if it was Ariel, or it was Mike Baum, or any of those guys, right? If they were to say something about them, they wouldn't attack them afterwards. They'd be like, oh, I don't like the guy. But they would eventually, the UFC would schedule them to do an interview with them again, and they would do it. With us, with athletes, with fighters, and they are like, look, man, we're supposed to be boys. Like, you said this about me. They don't forget. It's really fickle, man. Like, there's been times where I was calling a fight and fighters have come up to me afterwards. Not more. It's been more than like probably 10, 15 times. Man, I heard what you said while I was fighting. I'm like, well, you need to get your ass up off the ground. You lost the first 2 rounds. What? He's like, oh, I was trying. No, you could have done more. Like, you could have given your back up and tried to go from there. You could have done something. You let the two. It was just, I've had so many times where fighters have approached me after the fight, especially like when I was doing commentary for Bellator, and even one championship when I was commentating for them. Fighters come up to me after, I heard what you're saying, man. And then, or they would send me in my DMs after they went back home and watched the fight and heard the things that John or Big John and I had to say or whatever. And they were like, yeah, I didn't like that, man. I don't appreciate that, man. Fuck you. And I'm like, but if the media had said something or wrote something, they wouldn't reach out to them and care. But they hold us at a little bit higher standard, which I can understand. But you got to call it like you see it. And that's the way that I saw whatever it was. So it's weird. We're put in a really weird position. We want to support our fellow fighters, but we also have to call it like it is. And they don't take it very well.
No, and listen, I get it, man. It's you know, fighters are sensitive. It's tough. You're out there on an island, right, man? It's your craft. It's everything that you do, man. There's no blaming it on a team member. There's no, you know, well, this happened. No, it's just you, and it's tough, man. So you're in a difficult position, like you said. But man, I respect the way you carry yourself in the interviews, man. You do exactly what you just said. You just call it like you see it. You keep it real. It's just straight 100 every time. This is what I saw. This is what I thought. And that's one thing that I've always said. I'm like, listen, man. Don't say anything. Don't put on social media anything. Don't write anything. Don't say that you would not be willing to say to somebody's face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're willing to say it to somebody's face, then absolutely. But when people are kind of snarky and whatever, and they're just talking trash and you know that they wouldn't say, how about was it Paul? I think it was Paul Felder. This was a great years and years ago. I don't know whether a random social media conversation. Some random social media dude was just talking trash, and he was like, "You wouldn't say that to my face." And the dude was like, "Yeah, you're right, because you whipped my ass. That's why I'm saying it here." He's just like, "Okay, that's fair."
And Paul goes, "Fair enough."
Fair enough.
I do remember that.
That was classic. That was classic.
I was like, "Oh, bro, I thought it was great." I thought the way that, I thought it was great, man. I thought it was great.
Good.
It's funny. I got here. Jimmy Dean is asking me, Josh, who is your dream interview? Who would be your dream interview, JMO?
Man, that's tough. It'd probably be somebody old school. You know what I mean? Like somebody that we haven't heard from in a long time. I haven't thought about that because I've been fortunate. Like I get scheduled access to everybody as a credentialed media member. So there's nobody I can't really. You know what? I'll tell you what. Maybe a 100% unedited, unlimited, tell-all Joe Silva interview. Man, never really got to speak on record during his days. Knows all the stories, saw everything, and is retired, so he's no longer connected anymore. So if he wouldn't do it, he wouldn't do it because that's Joe Silva. He's a private person. He'd never do it. But if you could tell me that Joe Silva is going to sit down with an hour and there's zero limitations, there's zero things he can't talk about, can't address, I think that would be cool.
Man, you took the name right out of my mouth.
Yeah?
Yeah, it'd be Joe Silva. It really would. I mean, because look, if you've ever hung out with Joe, like having drinks and or a beer or whatever I was at a couple signings with him, and that guy, he loves to talk, and he's a great conversationist. He's like just an encyclopedia when it comes to the sport. And he just was talking to me about all the hurdles that he had to jump through in terms of matchmaking, in terms of dealing with fighters. And look, and me, I gave him a hard time a couple of times as well. And I also was like helping with Anthony Rumble Johnson when AJ was going through all that mess of not making weight, missing weight, making weight, and missing weight, making weight, and the jump up to 185 that he missed and should have, all that stuff. I was dealing with Joe Silva, or talking to Joe, I should say, during that time. And Joe, I remember when he didn't make the fight for Luigi Floravante down, I think it was in LA, or maybe that was Yoshida. One of the guys, I can't remember. I think it was Floravante he fought down in LA. When he didn't make that, he ran right up to me, Joe Silva. He's like, "I'm telling you right now, Josh, he's fucking done." He's like, "I'm going to fucking have him beat, and I'm moving him up." He's like, "I'm going to match him up against someone that stylistically is a bad matchup for him." And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, Joe, you have to understand he's going through a lot right now. He had some issues, personal issues and stuff. I go, he had a hard time making the weight, also dealing with a little bit of an injury, I talked him off of a cliff, right? But then again, he missed weight again, like not the next fight, but the fight after he missed weight again. And by then it was like, all right, look, I can't help you anymore, man. Like, you've got to make the weight. And then, then he missed weight at 185. But Joe came at me aggressively, like he's fucking done. He's like, when guys don't make weight, he's like, all I do is I bump them up in weight and then I get them beat. And I'm like, damn. He's like, because I don't want to deal with you anymore. I don't want to have to deal with you if can't be a professional.
I think that LA first, I think it was Yoshida. Because I think that's the fight when the UFC came out and said you have to make weight or you don't get bonuses anymore. And it was because of Rumble Johnson. But you're so right. Joe Silva, I mean, savant when it comes to knowing the sport. I mean, that dude, his knowledge level off the charts, his recollection is insane. But he was brutal. And, there were a lot of guys, I've heard the stories, there were guys that represented themselves. And you talk about, why do you need a manager sometimes? Joe Silva was the reason you need a manager, because you didn't want to be on the conversations, have the negotiations where you're like, hey, I'd like to make this much. And well, here's why we think you're worth this much. You're never going to challenge for a title. You're never, you know what I mean? Like, just brutal, like, hey, listen, man, you're mid-tier at best. You put on decent fights, but you're never going to be a champion. I can't pay you champion money because you're never going to be at that level. Like, nobody wants to hear that. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear that.
Bro, Dana White signed me to the UFC back in 2001. Joe didn't want to sign me. Joe didn't want to sign BJ Penn either. Dana had to tell him, hey, we're signing him. Dana did the same thing for me. And it was very strange and awkward. But then, I got past all that, and Joe and I kind of chatted up several times, this and that, throughout, that early stint in the UFC. But yeah, man, it was definitely Joe was one of those guys that if he didn't want to sign you, he would let you be known. And if he was forced to sign you, he would try to get you beat.
He's giving you the worst matchups possible.
He made it clear, like, if you try to go around me, or you are able to go around me, I will find someone that can beat you. And then I don't have to deal with you anymore.
Yep.
That's what happens. You come onto this show when I'm ready for you to come on this show. I was like, damn, you are ruthless, man. Look, it's so funny. One of my biggest memories with him though is after my Nate Diaz fight, I'm running around the cage and I scoop him up and lift him up. And
Yes.
I did.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
was, bro, they made a meme about it. It was like, and then they changed his face to the Oompa Loompa. And it was like, oh, bro, it was, but he to this day, like he still was like, hey man, you don't have to pick me up like that.
Joe's the man, dude. I miss
He
him being
is.
around. Like I said, he never spoke publicly, like you said. He was happy to have conversations behind the scenes and always around it. And listen, the company's changed a lot, but that was back in the day where, yeah, man, everybody goes and hangs out afterwards, and everybody's all together, and it was like this small little world, man. And bro, he was the man. He was an absolute encyclopedia of knowledge, and yeah, I miss Joe Silva being around. I actually texted Joe Silva recently. I had it was just a random question. So Nolan King, my former coworker over at MMA Junkie, he works for Topology as well, and I can't remember what he needed, some random information from like UFC 20, like he was going back and just fixing some stats or something. And I was like, hey, you know what? I don't know the answer, but I was like, let me reach out to Joe Silva because he'll know. And I wasn't sure if his number was still the same or whatever.
Yeah.
Text him. Dude, it's the same. So if you still got him saved in your phone,
I got him.
It's still the same number, brother. He hit me back in like 15 seconds. He was like,
Jeez.
"Yep, oh, here's the and it's, I'm telling you, that encyclopedic. I was asking him something for like UFC 20. He hit me back in like 15 seconds. It was like, here's the information you need."
Guys, if you don't know about Joe Silva, man, you got to go back and just do the research and go back and watch some old videos on him. And I remember doing an autograph signing with him and he was just breaking down. I was like, yeah, I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. He's like, Josh, see all the names in red? These guys are hurt. He's like, they are not fighting for 3 to 6 months. He's like, that's why I didn't match you up with them. Not that I want to be an asshole. He's like, but I also don't feel like I need to explain to you why they're not going to fight you. He's like, that's not my job. My job is to say, hey, they're not available. And no, we're not fighting that guy. He's like, that's it. Because, we had a little bit of a thing after, I was supposed to fight Anthony Pettis for the lightweight title.
Right.
And then Anthony pulled out like 3 weeks before. And he's like, hey, I got the, some Rabadanov guy, the Russian guy. Rabadanov? Is it Rabadanov? Something Ramadov.
Trying to remember around that time.
Yeah, he was a Russian guy, Ruslan Ramadov or something like that. Anyways, he was friends with Islam.
Yeah, Ruslan. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
He fought George Masvidal, and they had a little good back and forth. I think he actually beat George. I think it was Ruslan.
I'm pulling it up right now because it's gonna make me mad. Because it was Ruslan
Ramadov. I can't remember his name. Anyways, yeah, he fought Masvidal.
Rustam Habilov.
Yeah, Rustam. There you go.
Yeah.
I was close. But he wasn't even ranked yet. And I was like, bro, I'm not going from a title shot to a non-ranked guy. I was like, look, call me when you have a guy who's in, he's like, well, you can. And then he told Bob, this is what you were talking about. You need a manager to deal with Joe Silva because he fucking, and it's the funniest part was Bob had me on speakerphone. He's like, listen to what Joe has to say. Bob had me on speakerphone. Joe said everything that you said. He'll never contend for a title. I won't let him get a title shot. He doesn't take this fight. Da, da, da. And I told Bob, I text Bob while he's yelling at me on the phone. And I say, tell him I'm good with my money and I'll be fine for a year. and so Bob tells him, I text Bob that Bob tells him, Josh said that he's good with his money. And he can go ahead and withstand for 6 months to a year, without having to fight. He said, obviously, all he's asking for is a ranked opponent, someone that's in the top 10. That's it. He doesn't want any special treatment. Doesn't matter who you have. Fine, give him a top 10 guy. Then he matched me up against RDA, and I was like, I'll take it. He's like, you want that fight? I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. And then at the very end, he's like, hey, Benson Henderson became available. You want that? I'm like, yes, sir. I'll take that. So they were hoping, I think, that I beat Benson, and I felt like I did, but it is what it is. But that was me, that was me believing in myself, thinking I could beat Benson, and I thought I did beat him, and it just wasn't enough. Ultimately, that's when I knew that my career that I was done. I was like, after that Benson fight, I just was like, look, let's just have some fun, man. Like, they're never going to give me a title shot. I'm 37 years old. They're not going to do me any favors, I just felt like Pettis was tailor-made for me. And I think they saw the writing on the wall. They put him on the Wheaties box. And I was told by a couple people that work for the UFC that they wanted to market him. He had a story because of his father passing and and all those things. And he was 26 years old and I was 37. Big
Yeah.
difference. So
I was going to ask you because that was, like you said, it was a later stage in your career, but I do wonder sometimes if that is a little bit freeing, right? Like to just get the weight off your shoulders of just like, man, let's take the pressure off this. Let's take where am I going? What am I doing? How do I get there? Let's just go fight. Let's just go do what we do. You know what I mean? We train every day. Let's just go fight. Let's quit worrying about where's my ranking, what's my path, et cetera, et cetera. I know it was a little bit later, but did you feel that at all? Like, did it make it easier at all?
yeah, a little bit. But the worst part was I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have believed that I was done right at the Benson fight because I was supposed to fight Michael Johnson. And then Michael Johnson pulled out, and I give Michael Johnson a hard time about this. I'm like, bro, it was a week before the fight, 10 days before the fight. They sent us randomly on a Tuesday night, hey, you need to go to this location to get a drug test. Next morning, Michael Johnson pulled out. I was like, it seems a little weird because, if they drug test me, they have to drug test the other fighter. You have to test both. You can't just test one.
Michael Johnson's slander will not be allowed around these parts. I love me some Michael Johnson.
But I still bust his balls. I'm like, bro, come on. It just seemed kind of coincidentally you decided that you wanted to pull out of the fight. It was. Look, it could have been a coincidence. I never asked him to come to tell me the truth. I was like, I don't give a shit. It is what it is. But the Bobby Green fight. Let me tell you the story on the Bobby Green fight. Bobby actually had reached out to Dan Cormier and said, hey, my gym right now is not working for me. Do you mind if I come to AK? And I told DC, I'm like, yeah, man, tell him he can come. And then DC's like, hey, yeah, like he can come. Literally like a week later, he was like trying to make arrangements to come to AKA. And then he got the call, hey, Michael Johnson's out. You want to fight Josh Thomson? He's like, I can't come then. So had he been at the gym, it would have been a little bit different.
And then weird.
Yeah, and then I also really did take my foot off the gas. That was like one of those, no disrespect to Bobby. I think Bobby is I love watching Bobby fight. Bobby's one of my all-time, I've got guys at the top that I just put them into this mix of guys that I've always enjoyed fighting. And I say all-time all-time favorites, but they're in that mix of you're going to get a fun fight. You're going to get a little bit of trash talk. You're going to get a little bit of excitement. They're going to stand. They're going to wrestle. They're going to kick. That's what MMA is. And I always love watching those guys fight. And he does that. He can do a little bit of everything. So I got a lot of respect for Bobby. But to me, I feel like Bobby, he was tailor-made for me, and I didn't fight my fight at all. And I still thought I won. And I should have taken it more serious. Was out there goofing around, looking in the crowd, doing a little bit of what I did with Yves Edwards, and Jens Pulver talked about what I did with Yves Edwards. I'm chatting to Matt Hughes and Jens Pulver saying, hey, man, you're next, buddy. You're next. And I'm telling him while I've got Yves pressed against the fence, getting ready to take him down, I lifted Yves up on my shoulders and I'm looking around the crowd going, hey, hey, hey. And then I slam him, and then look at how that fucking fight turned out. Son of a
bitch. Hey, how great of an interview is Jens Pulver, by the way, man. I mean, he's that amazing. Dude. Oh, man, a guy that probably look, man, let's be honest. Probably a lot of fans now have never seen that man fight. No. Never seen that man fight at all. But what a great interview he's become, and just what a great ambassador for the sport, and talking about the old school days and just sharing the history of it, man. Great conversation there as well, man. So shout out to another legend.
Little Evil, he didn't get emotional, but he got real in depth with his life. And lost after fighting, didn't know what to do, started streaming, 3-4 days of streaming. No one came on or really paid attention. And then all of a sudden he got this raid from either Kick or Twitch, and thousands of people raided him and just were asking him questions, and then he just was in love. He's like, oh, this is awesome. And then people just kept flooding him, and they found him. And then next thing you know, now he's doing stuff for the UFC, right? He does all the he does a live streaming every single UFC fight. And he does something else, I think on Mondays, where he breaks down and live streams also. And he does a great job, man. The guy can just talk. So, and I don't know if you guys watched our interview. Check out our interview, man. Him and I were supposed to fight 3 or 4 times in that Boise, Southern Idaho era. Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington. Him and I were supposed to fight several different times in different people's promotions. And man, I love it, man. I love it. So Look, let's just talk about UFC 330, man.
Whew.
Look, enough about Josh Thompson in the old fucking days, and I'm gonna crutch now. Let's but what's this right here? It says, Josh, sharing the story about you and Pettis. Do you feel like it was? This is where Barboza should be at right now, mindset wise. He's fighting Robovics this weekend, and your story remind me of that. Possibly. I mean, he's not going to be champion. I don't think he's going to make a run. I don't think they're going to, like, once you've had too many ups and downs, I don't really know if you have a run in you that the UFC is willing to go ahead and take when you can take someone who's young, up and coming, undefeated, or only has one loss, but fights spectacularly. Like, they've got those guys that they're trying to build up. I don't know if Robovics or Barboza will be able to make those runs into that title shot era. Barboza's time has passed.
It's tough, man, because he is 40 years old, man, and it's tough, man. We've been watching this, but dude, there's a time when that dude was one of the most feared dudes on the planet, right? Like you knew that you may be able to beat him, but you knew you were going home hurting after that one. You know what I mean? Like you weren't going in there and having an easy night. So I mean, obviously, highlight reel finishes. He's going to be on the highlight reel forever with the spinning wheel kick knockout of Terry Adam. That's one of the greatest knockouts in UFC history. But I just think if you weren't around during his heyday, you missed the fact that dude was like literally one of the most feared dudes on the planet. And this is a tough fight for him. Like you said, I mean, anybody is going to be the younger guy at this point. Maybe his last fight. I don't know. But man, just an absolute quality human being, quintessential professional, dedicated to his craft. I feel like you can say it about damn near the entire roster, but such a nice guy. Like, I mean, literally just like the nicest human being, good teammate. It's a tough one for him, man. But like you said, I think you nailed it, right? Like guys that you want to watch fight, like Edson Barboza. Were you ever really thinking about title? Because I feel like sometimes that's all we talk about. Who's number one contender? Who's up for the title? What will this get to get title? What about the guys that you just like when you see him on the card, you're like, oh, I know we're getting something good there. Like that's gonna be fun. And Edson Barboza has been that guy for 15 years.
Yeah, I want you guys to take a good look at his face, though. And he's got a little something going on with his right eye. He's got a little droopy eye or something. I mean, for me, honestly, I personally, if I'm someone that cares about him or if I'm his coach, I'm telling him like, hey, this should be possibly your last, because this is going to be a tough fight as well. Like his style just brings like dog fights. He takes a lot of damage. He could get you out of there, sure, but he's also slowed down a tiny bit, not too much, to be honest. But he's got some damage to his right eye. I don't know how he's passing the test. And I was also, people randomly have hit me up and said like he's pretty much legally blind in that right eye. And that scares me. That scares me a little bit. But then you've got guys like Bisping, right, who won a title with one eye. Like what do we tell? Shara Bullet fighting with one eye. So if he's learned to adjust and been able to do it, but this is different. This is different only because it's you can tell that it's like the eye itself is starting to droop. And I've seen that too many times in professional boxers around the Bay Area. A lot of them, a lot of professional boxers would come into AKA and they'd bring some of their guys in to come in and spar with some of our guys that were training out of AKA at the time. And you could see them walk in like one eye's droopy, or they've got like a full nasty cut that just never healed right. And their eyes hanging over their skin's hanging over their eye. I don't want to see that for any fighter. None of them, and I didn't take a lot of damage throughout my career. I mean, the most damage I ever took was the Tony fight and the Clay Guida fight. Outside of that, I didn't take a lot of damage in my career. But I can tell you guys, I have lapses of memory, and like in my short-term memory is not what it used to be. I mean, I know that's as you get older. I mean, I'm almost 50. I know it's common, but it seems a little different, like with me and other guys that I know that are 50. They're like, oh no, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, you seem to remember every fucking thing. So there is something there. And I don't want to see that for any of the fighters, but I know it's going to happen, So, all right, guys, well, hey, let's jump on UFC 330, man. Big time fight. Obviously, everyone's talking about Islam and Ian Garry Machado. But the thing is somebody going to beat him? That's the question. The question that I pose on that, is there anybody right now in the welterweight division that could beat Islam? And is it Ian Garry, though?
I mean, listen. everybody knows who the favorite is in this fight, right? And everybody's been talking about it. But I will say this, as fight week is rolling around, Josh, I feel like certain people are starting to come around a little bit on the fact that there is a path to victory. You and I have been talking about it since the matchup has been announced. You, of course, being an AKA homer, have been going with Islam Makhachev the entire time and saying that nobody's going to beat him and there is no chance. But look, Ian Machado Garry does have a path to victory. Now, he has to execute 100% perfectly. He can make no mistakes. He's got to stay in the center of the cage. He can't be up against the fence. He can't get involved in the grappling exchanges. He's got to stay at range. But there is a path. And I will say, I do feel like as I'm hearing more and more analysis this week, I'm finally starting to hear people at least acknowledge the fact that this is a mixed martial arts contest. And there is a path to victory for Ian Machado Garry. So the short answer to your question, can Islam be beaten? Yes, I think he can be beaten. It just ain't an easy task. But Ian Machado Garry does have a path to get there.
Well, let's make this clear first. Anyone can be beaten. Any given day, anyone can be beaten. We've seen some of the worst football teams that are like 14-0 end up getting a win going into the playoffs, right? Like they're not going to the playoffs. They're 0-14, but they get a win somehow, some way, right? The worst team on any day could beat the best team. And the same thing can be said about fighters. Right now, will that happen? I don't know. I don't think so. I believe that the technique of Islam, the focus of Islam, all the things that Ian Garry Machado is distracted by now, Islam doesn't allow himself to be distracted by. Okay, the stuff talking about your sponsors in PETA, talking about women should rule the world, and men should just stay quiet and shut up. Like all of those things. And I had Alan Joban on yesterday. That was a great live show we did as well. Honestly, you don't need these type of outside distractions. Focus on the person in front of you. Like, sure, you want to thank your sponsors, great. You want to talk about how wonderful your wife is, I can appreciate that. But ultimately, that guy across from the cage is going to try to knock your head off. He's going to try to take your arm home. He's going to try to choke you unconscious in front of your family, in front of your fans, in front of everybody. Millions of people will be watching him try to choke the shit out of you. And he's going to try to take you down. Now, is there a path to victory for Ian Garry Machado? Absolutely. He's got to stick and move, stay on his bike, and he's got to try to get Islam to overextend. If he can get him to overextend, there's a chance there. With the speed that he has, the height that he has, Islam has never fought someone his height. Dan Hooker is probably the closest one to his height that he's fought, and he took him down at ease. But Dan Hooker also doesn't have the wrestling that Ian Garry Machado has. Ian's got better takedown defense and is faster and more fleet-footed than Dan Hooker is. So this is a very tough fight, and I've said this from the very beginning. I didn't like this fight for Islam only because it's one of those fights that can make you very frustrated. You can get out there and trying to chase him, trying to get him. He's going to stick and move. What he's got to do is not get overzealous, not reach, not get caught. And on top of that, he's got to just try to keep pressuring him, but he's got to try to slow him down as the fight goes on. The more Ian Garry Machado moves, the more tired he'll get as the fight goes on. Be patient. But you can't let the round slip away either. You've got to do just enough to try to win the first round, the second round, because you don't want to be down 0-3 going into championship rounds going, shit, I need to finish now.
Yep.
And he's slippery. He's sweaty. He's still pretty fast. He's still all these things. That's where Islam's got to be careful. He cannot let rounds slip away. He's got to try to get a takedown early, try to control the top pressure, don't rush the submission, and it'll come to him.
Yep, I agree, man. If he can implement that early on, then you're going to go, okay, he's got this one in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Ian needs to kind of build into that, right? Like if he's going to have success. And I want to make it very clear from the start as we talk about my pick is Islam Makhachev. I do believe he's that good. But there's a couple other factors that I also want to throw out there, Josh. And you talked about the tactical side of it. But let me throw in two things from the mental and psychological side of it because I think they do matter in fights. Number one, I don't think Ian's going to get like the moment's going to be too big for him, right? You know what I mean? Like I feel like Ian Machado Garry has kind of been this star, put the spotlight on me, welcome all the attention. Like I don't think he's going to get caught up in the moment where he's overwhelmed. I think he welcomes all that. So I think he's going to show up. We've seen people freeze in the spotlight, right? Yeah, they're around the UFC, but when they get to the main event, when they get to the title fight, the crowd's bigger, the moment's bigger. I don't think that's going to affect Ian at all. I think he's built for this. And the other thing is the discipline, right? Because I think, you laid it out there. We've talked about it. In order for him to win this fight, it's got to be a very dedicated tactical game plan. And I don't think it'll be the most exciting fight of all time if he wins it. And that Philly crowd bro, they're going to start booing him if he's winning, but I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares at all. You want to start booing him? He's not going to. Some guys might react to that and be like, uh-oh, crowd's restless. I got to cop out of my shell a little bit. I know this isn't what the UFC wants. I don't think he gives a damn. So those two things I do think play in his favor. So if you're looking for reasons to say, hey, how can the underdog get this done? How can Machado Garry evolve? There are some things that all point to him having at least an ability, but Islam is so damn good, man. Islam is so damn good.
Yeah, he's going to have a hard time getting his hands on him in that first round. The movement of Ian Gary Machado, the speed of him, and the height and the reach, all of those things will pose a problem because he hasn't had to deal with somebody like that. Now, he did bring in Joel Alvarez, and he does have Usman Nurmagomedov, who moves very well, probably just as good as Ian Gary Machado, and he moves just as well as he moves better than Joel Alvarez. But having another body, having multiple guys that kind of mimic the body size, I think will definitely be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
But what does this do? Because I've seen a couple of people talk about, the legacy. And there was a clip going around yesterday about how people kind of have, if he gets this win, he surpasses Anderson Silva for most consecutive wins, which is phenomenal. And, I already have him ahead of Anderson Silva on this GOAT list and this Mount Rushmore stuff. Guys, calm down, okay? I know I'm a homer, but let's give credit where credit's due. The guy's damn good, okay?
Guy's good.
I look at what Islam needs to do to continue to put himself above everybody else, and he's just got to continue to do what he's doing. He's got to open up a little bit more on the feet. After talking with Javier Mendez this week, he goes, "Don't sleep on his stand-up." Now, is it ideally we're going to go out there and just stand with him the whole time? No, we're going to mix it up. We're going to go hard for 5 rounds, and we're going to take it to him. We can't allow him just to run around. We've got to make sure that we're focused on, putting pressure, making him fight uncomfortable. Because if you take a look at Ian Gary Machado's fights, every time someone puts pressure on him and makes him put his back foot to the cage, there's a little bit of panic there for a split second. He's just fast enough and his footwork is good enough to get himself out of those situations. But he does have a tendency to panic against the fence a little bit. He squares up, makes himself square, which is what you don't want to do when you're being pressured to defense. Now there's more of your body to hit. I can kick you to the liver. I can body shot you to the other side. I can push kick you up the middle. Every time you square up with your back to the fence, you have nowhere to go. And so that's one thing I think that they're going to try to do is put pressure on him, make him fight a very uncomfortable fight on his back foot. I also think, and this is another distraction, I think for Ian Gary, signing with Eddie Hearn, I'm not sure it was a good thing. I think this is a distraction you didn't need before the biggest fight of your life. There's that. There's the comments you made and all the other stuff. Like, you could probably bury the comments. But what is Eddie saying to you? What is the UFC saying to you about you signing with Eddie? Has there caused a rift? Because now you're signed with a guy that ultimately is like talking shit about us as a promotion, talking shit about the president, talking shit about the CEO, talking shit about the UFC in general. How does that put a little pressure on you now? Because does that ruin your relationship with the UFC? You're in a title shot for the UFC title. You went and did this right before you're fighting for the title. Why? Why would you put that on you now? It didn't make sense to me at all.
I mean, if you're thinking about it from, just a logical perspective, I guess, you think you're going to win this fight. Obviously, you're going to go in for potentially a big negotiation, perhaps the biggest negotiation of your life. Maybe you want somebody that you don't feel like is buddy with the UFC, that is going to go in there and not care about protecting relationships and is only going to argue for you and fight for you. But I agree, man. Just distractions at this point in your career are not good, man. And so that makes it a little bit interesting on the timing of it. So, listen, man, this is a big spot. You touched on something there with, I was thinking about it. Islam, because we talked about it last week, right? We were talking about where Islam stands all time and his legacy and all those things. And I thought you made a great point that really kind of made me think about the fact, in real time, as we were talking about it, like somebody that not only wins titles in 2 weight classes, but also defends in 2 weight classes. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. And now you talk about breaking the all-time win streak. Like, I don't care who the names are, winning at the highest level in the UFC. That is insane. But I'm sitting there thinking about Islam's legacy, and I for some reason, and I know what it was in the early days, because I know you remember this, is Islam was on his way up. Nobody wanted to fight him, right? Because he had no name whatsoever, and everybody knew he was impossible, right? But I do feel like his legacy, his career, if you look back at it, I don't know. I feel like it's missing some of the stars along the way, some of the big, I mean, the biggest names he's fought. I mean, obviously Poirier, but Poirier at the very end of his career. I mean, Volkanovski, of course, but Volkanovski now technically down 2 weight classes from Islam at this point. You know what I mean? So I think that is going to impact how people see him, at least on the surface. If you're not just looking at the fighter, like if you're looking at just like stats and records and how do you put so on, I feel like Islam, I don't know. I feel like he's missing some of the names. And so maybe it's going to take him a little longer at 70 to get the respect that he truly deserves for all time.
I don't think that people will ever give him the credit he deserves because he's always going to be Habib's little brother. And they're going to put Habib maybe either slightly above him because of what Habib did to the sport. He changed the sport. He opened the door for those fighters coming from Dagestan. It's always going to feel like Habib was, it's not going to feel like it is true. Habib was the first. Habib was the guy that opened the door for all the fighters that are coming from Dagestan. And Islam and Habib, they have this relationship. They don't care who's better. They don't give a shit. All they care is that their brothers are successful. Habib being successful in whatever it is he's doing now outside of fighting, and Islam only cares about that, and Habib only cares about how successful Islam is inside the cage and in life. That's it. That's one thing that I admire about this fam. I can't speak for all Muslims. I can't speak for all fighters from Dagestan. I can't speak from Russian fighters. I can't speak for any of them. I can just say that, and I'm not speaking for them either, for Islam and for Habib and Umar and Usman and these guys, but they have something that they don't allow anything to get inside. They just want to focus on them being the best and the greatest and let the chips fall where they may. And luckily for them, it's working. And they've outpunted the coverage, man. They've done things that nobody really thought they'd be able to do. They thought, oh, maybe Habib did it. Islam's not going to do it. He has that one loss, and people forget how long ago that loss was. It's forever ago. People still bring that up. People are in the comments going, yeah, but he lost 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
What are we talking about? I mean, he lost so long ago. It was ridiculous. And so, I mean, they have done something. Umar is chomping on the bit right now. He's got to get through Song Yadong. Usman potentially making his way to the UFC, and who he matches up against next. I mean, there's so many people for him to fight. It's insane. I'm ready for it.
Man, if he faces these tops of these next generation, man, the names that everybody's throwing out there, they're incredible, man. I mean, we were talking, and I saw somebody commenting early that was saying like, hey, I kind of like Michael Morales' path to victory easier. Somebody that can do some big power, something to catch him. And I agree. If you're trying to draw up a game plan to beat Islam, it would not be to try to outpoint him over 25 minutes. Like that's tough. That's tough. Yeah. You're better off trying to catch him with one shot, like he did in his loss, obviously. But man, if he can take out Ian Machado Garry, Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, I mean, that would be pretty damn spectacular.
Yeah, you put him again. He beats Ian Garry. I feel like if he submits him, that cements him as, I think, the clear number 2. John Jones and then him. I don't think there's anybody else that competes right now. Yeah. The consecutive wins, the defending 2 titles, all of those things, I put him at number 2. And then if he goes on to beat, let's just say Shavkat comes back. He beats Shavkat. He beats Michael Morales. You've beaten 2 undefeated guys. I would prefer he rides off into the sunset and never fights again. But if there was a champion named Sean Strickland at 185, I would say take that shot.
I love
Take that chance.
I love it. I know he told you he's not interested, but that particular matchup, come on, man. You got to take it. You got to take it.
I feel like you have to. The things that Sean has said about people from that area, right? And the way he is, what he said about Chimaev and what he said about other people from there, like, I just feel like, man, it would be one of those fights where stylistically on the feet, he would give Islam some problems, Sean would. But if that fight hit the ground and then how he would be able to get him to the ground, foot sweeps, trips, all those things, he's not just double legging and trying to take him down. So it definitely makes for a fun fight. I don't think he will. And he said he's not interested in going to 85. So I just want to make sure I clarify that. Islam has no desire to go to 85 is what he told me. He's like, brother, these guys are big. He's like, 70 is perfect for me. I also feel like it's helped his chin. I also feel like it's helped his cardio because he's not killing himself to get to 155. He looked great, obviously, against JDM, but there's a lot more to be had. How will he look against a guy that's running and sticking and moving and frustrating him potentially a little bit. How will he look as the fight goes on in this fight? There's still a lot of questions to be answered. I have faith in him because that's who I am and that I believe in my brother and I know what he can do. Technique wise, he is the better fighter.
Yes.
And he's got more weapons, he's got more tools in his box. But will he be able to use all of them? Will he be able to get his hands on Ian Gary Machado? That's the question.
And look, man, everybody has a bad night every now and then, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's still a fight. Like the fight doesn't get competed on paper, right? You know what I mean? You still got to go out there and contest this thing. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm excited to be in the building on Saturday night. Excited for a chance to watch one of the all-time greats compete. You know what I mean? And boy, I tell you what, in terms of mixed martial arts world going crazy and people getting all stirred up, and Ian Machado Garry victory again. Once again, I do believe Islam keeps that. But can you imagine Ian Machado Garry, UFC welterweight champion, taking out the pound? Oh my god! I
can't imagine that shit.
Oh,
I'm not even trying to imagine that shit.
People would lose their minds.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
People would lose their minds.
Get out of here with that shit. You know what fight though would definitely make for fun is Yaroslav Amosov and Islam. That would be a fun fight. The two of them, watching the two of them try and grapple each other and stand with each other. I mean, that fight would take place everywhere. It'd be a fantastic fight. Fantastic fight. But look, he's got his hands full right now with Ian Gary Machado. And look, and the odds are not showing it. They're not reflecting it at all. I think there's a little disrespect on Ian Gary. He's plus 270. Islam is a minus 340. I don't think they're giving Ian Gary enough respect. I think it should be a little bit closer. Not much closer, but a little bit closer. Ian's got a shot. He does have a chance. He's got to fight a very almost perfect fight, but he's got to stay on that bike the whole fight. He's got to make it a boring fight. He's got to stick and move, snap the jab, hit the thigh kick, all those things, right? He's got to kick the front of the knee. He's got to do all those things that really drive fans crazy. Like, hey, stand and trade. He won't do that. There'll be moments where he feels like if he lands something clean that he can do it, but we're going to find out. Man, he's got to hit him with a 2 and a 3 piece, but in that process of throwing a 2 and 3, 4 punch combination, that opens you up to being taken down. So not sure if he'll do it. We may end up with a really boring fight. Or we may end up with a really dominant fight and performance by Islam getting to the top position and potentially getting the submission out of there.
If you were coaching against Islam, if you're coaching Ian Machado Garry, do you tell him no kicks at all, or do you have him try to mix it in, just make sure they're not naked, or do you say just let? Because I don't think Islam's not the the shoot the double, you know what I mean? He's more of like kind of the body lock clinch strength is where he's at. So I think you could. I mean, obviously, right? The traditional game plan is if you're fighting a wrestler, don't throw kicks because they're going to grab your leg and take you down. Islam isn't necessarily the snatch the leg guy. I mean, obviously, you can pick up the single, but I don't know. I'm just saying, if you were game planning and you were coaching Machado, would you say, hey, no kicks at all, or is it, hey, make sure you only throw it at the end of a combination? Like, what would be your tactical advice?
No, it would be calf kicks low to the ankle, not so much to the bottom of the knee, like where the calf kick most people like to kick, kind of right below the knee. They like to kick there. I prefer to kick more down by the ankle, so it's more of like a foot sweep. If he is stepping forward, it kind of knocks him off balance, takes the power away. There's that kick. I'm definitely telling him no kicks to the body whatsoever. If he catches your kick, he's taking you down. He's going to catch the single leg and clothesline you, take you down that way. He's going to catch the single leg, hike it up, and foot sweep you as he runs into you. There's so many different ways he can take you down if he's able to snatch that single or catch your kick. Head kicks are okay because that keeps his hands loyal to his head. So he's got to set that up, though, with throwing his hands. So if he sets it up by throwing his hands, he throws the head kick right behind it. As soon as he throws it, though, he can't be lazy bringing it back. He's got to throw the head kick, bring it back right away, and get on his bike again. You don't want to be stuck standing right in front of him after you threw the head kick and it didn't land because that straight left's coming right down the pipe, especially when you have an orthodox and a conventional fight. A southpaw and a conventional fighter fighting. That straight left's going to come right down the pipe. Well, I will say is this. Ian Gary's got to be very careful because Islam is very slick with his head kick himself. And he kicks very well to the body also. So he's got to be careful of Islam's kicks also. And they're coming on his blind side because Ian's conventional. So if he throws that head kick to the side and you dip it all, very much like a Josh Thomson, Nate Diaz, you're going to dip right into that head kick. And it's just common to kind of dip to that side somewhat. Yep. Like you kind of take a lot of the impact. You're thinking it's going to the body, and it's not. It's going to the head. So it could graze the head, kind of rock Ian. And Ian also has been rocked and dropped before in the UFC. And so he got dropped early in one of the fights. I can't remember who it was against. got dropped early in the first round, came back, was able to get the finish, I think, in the third round. But regardless, he is somebody that can be in trouble as well. So this makes for look, people are not giving him the credit. I'm going to give him all the credit he deserves when it comes to his fighting style. Okay. He's going to be boring. He's going to have to stick and move, use his speed, use his length, his reach, all of those things. But can he do that for 5 rounds? Can he do that with the pressure of the title on the line? Can he do that with the pressure of the crowd possibly booing him? Like, now the crowd's against me. I know it's boring, but I got to win the title. He's got to stay dialed in if he wants to have any chance against Islam, because one slip up, this fight hits the ground. And everyone keeps telling me, oh, he's been training with Charles, he can survive. Charles couldn't survive. How the fuck is Ian Garry going to survive? Charles couldn't survive. And I love Charles Oliveira. He is another one of those guys that's always going to be one of my favorite fighters. He couldn't survive. He's the best, probably the best grappler the UFC has seen in forever, if ever. And Islam went out there and did what he did, side choke, and I've said this, the submissions you will see, Darce, Anaconda, side choke, and Kimura. Once that fight hits the ground, those are the submissions you're going to see him chase, and odds are he's probably going to get one.
Yeah. And it's funny, man. Like I said, I wish Islam had some of the bigger names on his record, but I was looking back old school. Think about, you talk about how great he is, but let's not forget, beat Arman Sarukin. Now, I know that was very, very early in Arman's UFC run, but Davi Ramos, first
fight ever.
Which by the way, I was sold on Arman, but the fact that Arman went 3 rounds in his debut, I was like, keep an eye on this dude. That dude's definitely going to be the man. And then right after that, his next fight was against Davi Ramos. Davi Ramos didn't have the greatest success in the mixed martial arts world, but a fantastic grappler as well. So, I mean, this dude has gone with the absolute best of the best in the grappling world and outdone him every single time.
Look, let me just tell you, Islam, I brought in black belts from Checkmat, and I brought in black belts from all around the world. They came in and they trained with Islam. They're like, I got to be honest, this guy, they've trained with Habib, they trained with Islam, they trained with Abu Bakr, they've trained with a lot of these guys. This was kind of like pre-Umar and Usman coming to AK. And then all of them said, Islam's probably the strongest guy they've ever grappled with. Now, It's funny because I think I saw something where Dustin Poirier said, Islam wasn't the strongest guy, right? Habib felt stronger, but it was more of a positional strength with Habib, and Islam physically is just when he grabs you, you're like, damn. With Habib, it was more like he hangs on you and makes you carry his weight. And once he does get to the top position, his legs are strong, he can lock you down, and then he just does damage. And they have different styles. One's chasing the submission, the other one's trying to punch your face in. But let me ask you this, Ian Garry, what changes can he make though if things are not going his way? That's what I think that's where most people are like, if he does take you down, how are you going to get back up?
That's why I have a hard. That's why I keep saying, there is a path for Ian to win this fight, but it's got to be 25 minutes of absolute perfection and execution, because I don't see the plan B. That's the problem I'm having. Is, I'll be honest with you, I hate to answer like there isn't one, because I don't want to talk bad. I just don't see the plan B. Like, if he executes and he does what he's capable of doing, we talked. I mean, we laid the path out, and if he can do that, great. But to get taken down, I don't see that he has the game to be like, hey, he can definitely submit Islam off his back if he gets there, or he definitely, it's going to be easy for him to build back up I don't see it. So that's what's hard for me here, is that while I do see the path to victory, I'm having a hard time. And maybe he's got some in the tank. Maybe they've cooked up something. As I said, he's a high IQ guy. He breaks everything down. But the plan B seems a little challenging for me in this one.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is, when you watch Ian Garry, when he does get taken down, he has a tendency to turn his back.
Mm-hmm. Not
You're
going to do that.
Strangled. You're going to get strangled in that position. Like, he'll jaw lock you how Habib did Connor. And their physical strength in that squeeze is just years and years of them squeezing bears. Okay. That's what they've been doing. They've been just squeezing bears. Right. And it works, man. They're so strong. Their grip strength is strong. I'm not here to continue to blow up Islam on this, because I don't need to gas him up. Everyone knows how damn good he is. I just think that when you take Ian Garry outside of fighting that boring fight, how does he get it done? And when it's not going his way, what does his corner tell him to do? Because I will say this, have you not seen in his last couple, he tried to take Shavkat down. He did take Shavkat down. And so in other fights, he's wrestled a little bit. Does he try to take Islam down to get on top? If that does that naturally come to him, like, oh, I got the single leg, let me just try.
Oh man, I don't think you should. I was actually going to ask you that earlier. Like, you were talking about like Ian, using the low kicks and almost like a sweep. And that was kind of coming to mind. Like, let's say you do hit one really well and you sweep into the ground. Do you go rush on top, or do you just back up and be like, all right, come back up.
And that's the question, because I asked Alan Job on that yesterday. I said, like, does he jump into his guard and potentially get swept or submitted from there like this? Because if Islam goes like, some sort of butterfly guard, butterfly sweep, or he goes to, a hook sweep, or he comes underneath and goes X guard, is coming back up on top. Now you just had an opportunity to kind of make him stand back up and fight your fight. Or does he chase after him? Because he was chasing after Shavkat when Shavkat was on the ground. They got into a scramble. He was able to get over Shavkat, and he tried to punch down on Shavkat, and Shavkat wasn't able to pull him in the guard. But there's that moment there where he could sit up onto a double leg or a single leg and potentially reverse you and take you down if you play that game. Does he do it?
I would be in his corner yelling, no, 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 back to your feet. I would not advise engaging there. That to me is going to plan B. You know what I mean? Even though, yes, you're taking top position. Yes, you're taking the dominant spot. That is not the place that we most have an opportunity to get this one. So I would say no. John, you were talking about Islam earlier. This is from this past week, and it's not Islam, and I'm not trying to, but the type of mindset that some of these athletes have. This past week at CFFC, right? We were in Cincinnati. One of the fighters on the card, Aziz Hyderov, he's from Tajikistan actually, but he had a big win against Blaine Richards. He had a long layoff. He was on road to UFC. It was a big moment for him. But after the fight's over. And, you know what happens after a fight. We're sitting out on the patio, having a little whiskey, smoking some cigars, talking about the night, planning ahead, all that stuff. And we look over because we can see into the gym. It's 3:30 in the morning, and Aziz and his corner are working out, bro. They went into the gym, and they're working out at 3:30 in the morning after they had a 3-round fight. And it's just like, when you're talking about, years of just, building the strength and building the dedication, it just reminded me of this past weekend. I mean, Islam, obviously you got a front row seat for it for years and years and years, man. It's hard to overcome that, right? When the dedication isn't just, hey, are you dedicated Monday through Friday during your sessions? It's like, no, I'm dedicated 24/7. There's no partying. There's no varying from it. No, it's just, it's hard to beat that, man.
I'll add on to that. You want to be a professional athlete, period. Not just be an MMA fighter. You want to be a hockey player, baseball player. I went to go watch the Blackhawks play when they were winning championships, right? It was 2013, 2014, I think, is when I fought Benson Henderson, 2014, I think. And in that process of fighting Benson Henderson, we went to a Blackhawks game. They went 3 overtimes in that game. And at the end of the game, they bring us down. We meet the players, but we had to wait until after they were done working out.
What?
They went 3 overtimes, a triple overtime, and they had to work out right after because they were jumping on a plane to go to another city to play the next night.
That's crazy.
So they were all lifting, not working out. They were lifting weights, like doing kettlebell swings, doing axe chops. They were doing everything. They were getting after it with 25, 40-pound dumbbells. Like, they just got done playing 3 periods and then 3 extra periods, basically.
Two games, basically. They did a doubleheader.
And then they were in the back working out. That's the type of dedication that I see from Islam and from Khabib. Now, I can't speak for all the other fighters that come out of that region. I can't. I can just say that what I've seen out of them, that's what it is. It's that type of dedication, and that's why they're the best. That's why they've got 1 loss, 2 losses. I mean, like, Umar and Islam they have 2 losses. Khabib and Usman have no losses. Usman is 22-0. Like, that lets you guys know, like, that like they're doing something different than all the other fighters. And so whatever that is they're fully dedicated to that, and they're having success that way, 100%. So I think if, like, I take that in terms of the Blackhawks, and I think to myself, I tell my son, when you're done with the game, we do a couple liners, like sprints, to really like open up the lungs, get your body to kind of dial down a little bit. We'll sprint, we'll do liners. You'll sprint out, sprint back, and then you take a break. You'll jog out, jog back, and then you'll sprint out, sprint back. Like, get his body, continue to keep his body going, but also build that muscle when you're tired and fatigued. So I think that This is, I know the odds don't have it in terms of Islam or Ian Gary having a chance, but I'm going to give him more of a chance than these odds do, for sure. It's going to be a tougher fight than I think people are giving Ian Gary credit for.
And you better get ready, because if that man
Yeah.
has a UFC belt around his waist, bro, the interviews and I cannot wait. The MMA world is gonna go crazy. They're gonna lose their mind.
You shut your whore mouth. You
So
shut
good.
your whore mouth. No, look, all the things outside of Ian Gary, I think he's very talented.
Yep.
He's very talented, skill level wise, and guys, you know, that I've talked to at Kill Cliff when he was there training at Kill Cliff, they said, look, the guy's a workhorse, man. He loves to work out. He loves to train. You know, be sure there's guys in the gym that can get him, but they get him at his weakness. They don't get him at his strength. So there's, you know, and like Shavkat, you said, I guess apparently, you know, was able to take him down and submit him. And we saw what happened in that fight. It was a lot closer than it should have been. A lot closer than it should have been. So he may be one of those fighters that maybe isn't as good in the gym, but better on fight night. That was more of my MO. Like I fucking would go in there in the gym at AK, fucking amateurs would beat me up one day, you know, and then the fucking 2 weeks later, I'd go out and beat somebody up that was in the UFC. Like, what are we doing? Right. So it's it really depends on what you are the night of the fight. BJ Penn said this to me one time. I don't have to be better than them every single night. I just got to be better than them that night.
That's awesome.
Like, that's awesome, man. Because he told me that right after he beat Matt Hughes the first time. He's like, everyone kept telling me I didn't have a chance. Everyone said this, everyone said that. He's like, I didn't have to be better than him every single day at training or every single night. I just had to be better than him tonight.
That's
like,
the only time that matters, right? It only matters once, bro.
No one cares, man. Yeah. No one's watching you in your gym. You know, like you're getting your ass kicked by amateurs or getting your ass kicked by guys that they've never heard of. No one's watching that. No one cares. They care about how you look that night. And so
that's it.
Yeah, man, this is great. Look, let's go ahead and move on to Mackenzie Dern and Jillian Robertson. Very tough fight for Jillian Robertson. Like it's like everything that she does well, except for she wrestles better than Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern can't wrestle for shit. But Mackenzie Dern is very fast on the feet. Her boxing has come a long way working with Perillo. And I think I'm not sure she's still with Perillo. Is she? Do you know?
That's a good question. I thought so. She moved on.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she separated from him or if they're still working together, but regardless, Perillo had a lot of influence on how good her boxing has gotten. And she's also someone that, as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, she's not afraid to get punched in the face. Yeah. And so when you watch her fight, I admire the fact that she'll gunsling it. She'll take big shots. And I wish she would I wish she would learn how to wrestle so she could get these fights to the ground and we could see a lot more flashy and explosive submissions. But Jillian Robertson, I think right now is going to do exactly what Mackenzie Dern wants her to do. Take me down.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So here's the thing about this fight. Number one, I'm going to be pulling as a fan, cheering for Jillian Robertson for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think she has the best walkout song in the game, dude. I just love the fact she comes out to PIMP every time she comes. I don't know what you heard about me, but I'm a mother PI. I mean, that's her walkout. I love it. It's one of my favorite songs, man. When that little steel drum starts to play, I get hyped up. And Dean Thomas is in her corner, right? Dean Thomas has been coaching her for a long, long time, man. So to have him coach a world champion from really grassroots start to this moment would be massive. So everything in me is going to be cheering for Jillian Robertson. But I think you laid it out there. The hard path is just like, this seems like the most difficult matchup for her stylistically, kind of in the division, right? Like, you're spot on, right? Because Mackenzie Dern, it's shocking that she's never really developed her wrestling game. As good as her grappling is, her wrestling's not there. So do I believe Jillian Robertson can probably take her down multiple times? I don't want to say at will, but definitely get her down. I do believe Jillian Robertson can get her down. But then what? You know what I mean? Then what? So it's like, it's just dangerous, and Mackenzie's going to see the trap. She spent a lifetime on the ground. So I just stylistically, I feel like it's going to be tough. I feel like Jillian Robertson has all the capabilities, but it's going to take Mackenzie Dern making a mistake, because I think Mackenzie has all those exact same capabilities. And like you said, probably even a little bit better in the striking department. In fact, I wouldn't say probably. I think she is better in the striking department. She's evolved herself to this point. So tough matchup. I'm going to be cheering like heck for Jillian Robertson, because I think she's fun to watch. And like I said, I'd love to see Dean Thomas get to be a part of winning that title. But I just think stylistically, the way these two match up, it's a tough assignment for Robertson.
It's always nice to know fighters that have a history of being inside the UFC cage, and then they've gone on to coaching or they've gone on to doing something else and seeing them succeed. So seeing Dean Thomas be able to have his own champion, someone that he's worked with and I was about to say groomed, somebody that he's worked with and been able to shape. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. That word has changed meanings over the years, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, right? It definitely has. But, for him, somebody that he has put a lot of energy into and has been able to develop to the point where, she is fighting for the UFC title. That's one thing. Two, and if she can win it, holy shit. That cements him as one of the best coaches, in the world ever. That automatically puts you in that realm of like, hey, people want to talk about who's next for you. That also brings more fighters to you, which gives you more opportunities to produce another one. And so Dean, look, if you've listened to Dean's commentary, I don't know how much you guys listen to it. I don't know if you guys even understand what the hell he's saying, because he is so detailed in what he's talking about. Most people are like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. He just put his foot on the outside and threw the punch. No. He shifted a little bit to the right, and then he feinted, and then he made you react, and then he slid in and landed the shot. Like, those little tiny details that he gives in those little breakdowns during the fight, they're fucking spectacular. He does a great job, and I love that he calls it like he sees it. I love that UFC doesn't try to muzzle him and say, if he has something bad to say about a fighter. That's the last thing you want to do, is lose credibility by saying, oh, they're doing great. And no, they're not. They're not doing great. That's how people turn you off. They're like, I don't want to watch that shit. They want to deal with, they want to see, they want to hear the right techniques. They want to hear all of the right information from the so-called professionals, which Dean Thomas is.
Yeah, man. Dean's mindset, I mean, his knowledge of the game is unparalleled, man. He is one of the absolute sharpest and brightest minds in the game. And a guy, I think that, there's a reason we all get along with him too, right? He's grinder too, right? He's got that hustler mentality. He's always got 10 different projects going. He's got a bunch of stuff happening outside of the fight game as well. So mad respect. And that's why I'm saying I'm cheering for Jillian on a personal level. I've just always liked Jillian's personality, like bubbly and energetic. And like I said, her walkout music, and obviously she always dyes the hair. She's got great submission, which I love, great grappling. You know what I mean? So there's all these things. But I would just love to see Dean Thomas get that opportunity. You know what I mean? Because again, like you said, coaching this girl from the start, right? Not just I swooped in at the end, or I became no. Coaching her from the start, and what an awesome moment that would be.
Yeah, there's also something to be said about fighters like AKA, right? Almost every fighter that's come from AKA, they built them from the ground up. Not sure they had wrestling, sure some of them had jiu-jitsu, some of them had kickboxing, but they weren't MMA fighters yet. To say like, oh, Josh Koscheck came in, yeah, he was a great wrestler, but he didn't know how to fight MMA. He just was a wrestler. BJ Penn didn't know how to fight MMA. He came in as the jiu-jitsu guy. So they built all those guys. Frank Shamrock came in. He already had training with his brothers Ken and and Vernon White and those guys. Vernon Tiger White and those guys.
Tiger White,
he had fought. He'd already been training with those guys. He already had fights. And he came into AKA and learned from Javier and the cardio, and learned from Javier and in the kickboxing and the stand-up, which worked for him later on in his career against Tito Ortiz. But most of AKA guys were built and bred inside the AKA gym. Bob Cook built inside there. Charles Taylor built inside there. Ryan Bowe built inside there. Brian Johnston, who fought in UFC 3. UFC 3, I think, and UFC 5 or 4, something like that. He fought in those as well. Then it went to me, BJ Penn, Bob Cook, and then it jumped in. That's when Fitch, Koss, Swick, they came. Swick kind of came around the same time I did, but I just made it to the UFC 3 or 4 years earlier than he did. And then you move into, when Kane came, and then DC, and then Luke, all of them came. None of those guys had MMA experience. None of them. Kane came right off the wrestling mat. So did DC. So did Koscheck. Luke came off of a fucking surfboard, from Hawaii. I don't know from Hawaii, but Santa Cruz, right? Like, it was just randomly comes in and he's training. He's an athlete, can wrestle a little bit. He's got some jiu-jitsu, and he's a good jiu-jitsu guy. And fucking, he was surfing, skateboarding, banging bitches. That was Luke Rockhold.
I was wondering where that part was going to come in, because let's be honest, that was a part of the training. That was part of the culture.
Dude's 40-something years old right now, still ripped and shredded. He's doing it for a reason, brother. So he's doing it for a reason.
I love Luke,
So
dude.
that guy, man, he's still looking good at 40-something years old, man, ripped and shredded. I gotta be honest, I'm a little jealous. He got me motivated. I saw a video of him hitting pads the other day and grappling with some guys, and I'm like, bro, you're still shredded. I'm like, bro, and here I am with this fat belly in front of me, just fucking can barely do 12 push-ups. What the fuck? By the way, fucking drop down and give me 10, buddy.
I'd say Luke's the best. Luke's great, man. You know what's funny is like, because look, I think, you know, publicly in interviews, press conferences, like he's kind of a prick. Let's be honest. And I don't know if that was a choice on his part or that was just what came natural. But behind the scenes, dude, funny dude, and just a good guy, man. He's great to hang out with, man.
The worst thing, this is the thing that bothers me with Luke, is that Luke is a guy that if you talk to him and you're with him, he's so fun to be around, just like in a small group. Yep. But then, like when the camera turns on, that's not really who Luke is. Agreed. Sadly, like he's just fun, man. He's just cool to be around. Like we were in LA a couple times, surfing, hanging out, and skateboarding on the Strand, and you know, and just hanging out, getting sushi, and fucking and having drinks and cocktails. It was awesome. We've been at the Montage in Beverly Hills and hung out and been there for, you know, a couple weeks. We hung out there for like a week at whatever there. It was awesome, man. Like we've had so much fun together. But then every once in a while, I'm like, he comes across on camera. I'm like, that's not who you are, man. You're so likable and such a good, you know so much about the sport. I wish that he could translate that a little bit better, but who knows, man? Who knows?
I always thought about that. Like I said, I don't know if it was a conscious decision to carry himself that way. But I feel like if people got to see that side of Luke, he'd have a lot more fans than he did, to be honest with you.
He's a little nervous when the camera's on and then kind of like shies up a little bit, but in a, not really shy because the things that come out of his mouth are not shy.
They're crazy.
But he's crazy. He's fun, man. He's a good, and it's so funny. My wife calls him my little brother because I know he's bigger than me, but he has been like my little brother. I mean, if someone asked me, hey, tell me the best Luke story. All right, let me tell you the fucking greatest. I will tell you
is it approved? Is it approved?
The hands down greatest Luke story ever. We are doing a charity golf tournament in Livermore, California. Okay. Beautiful golf tournament. I have a fight coming up. I'm about to fight Jay-Z. I think I'm fighting Jay-Z Cavalcanti, I think. And we do a charity golf tournament in Livermore, which is about 45 minutes from San Jose. It's another 40 minutes to Santa Cruz. And I'm like, shit, it's getting late. It's getting dark. You know, it's 9 o'clock. He stays. He'd been drinking all day at the golf tournament. Okay. And he drove himself there. And I'm like, hey, do you need a ride? He's like, no, I'm going to stay for the silent auction and the food and all this. I'm like, I'm out of here. I got double my 18 holes. I'm leaving. I got to go train tomorrow. This night. He's like, all right, man, have fun. He's like, I'll see you later. I'm like, all right, you sure you're good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I kid you not. I get 15 minutes down the road. His brother calls me. He goes, hey, Luke is not able to drive. Like, is it possible? I'm like, yeah, bro, I got you. So I turn around, I drive back. And I'm like, Luke, I'm coming back to get you, man. I'll take you home. Like, don't worry. I'm going to drive 2 hours to drop you off and then drive an hour back home to San Jose where I live. But I go to pick him up and I get to the golf course. I'm like, hey, where are you? He's like, oh, I left. Dude, where'd you go? What are you doing driving? He's like, oh, I'm like, where are you? Doesn't know where he's at. I'm like, send me a pen. Send me a pen. And he's like, give me like this right when like the maps and stuff started being on the pen. And I'm like, okay, so he sends me a pen location and he's at a Mountain Mike's Pizza. I'm like, pull over. He's like, I'm going to stop and get pizza. I'm going to stop and get pizza. I'm all right, cool. You pull over. I'll come get you. You send me the pen. I'll be there. And it says 8 minutes. I'll be there in 8 minutes. I exit. I pull into the Mountain Mike's Pizza. And as I'm pulling into the fucking parking lot, there's a Pier 1 Imports, like a Pier 1, like it's like a, you know what Pier 1 is?
Yeah.
It's like a furniture store / like outdoor patio furniture stuff, all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It's there. But it's an elevated. Mountain Mike's is here. The parking lot for Mountain Mike's is lower, and the Mountain Mike's is down here. And Pier 1 is elevated here. Well, there's a gap, and there's like where the parking lot doesn't join, but it's a cliff. And his fucking Forerunner is teetering like this on the little cement block that you're supposed to stop at to stop your truck from going over the edge. His Forerunner is teetering like this. I see his truck. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, the cops are gonna be here in no time. Fuck, what's going on? I go inside. This dumbass orders a pizza. He's sitting down. He's like, no, I gotta wait for my pizza to get here. I'm like, dude, let's get the fuck out of here. We gotta leave. Like, someone's gonna call the cops. Your car is teetering like this. I'm like, what do you think they're gonna think happened? That you weren't drinking? Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Grab your shit, let's go. Luckily, there was someone that had a horse trailer there. They were from Montana. She had tow ropes. And she pulled out. She was walking to her car. I'm like, she's like, oh, you guys got your work cut out for you. And she was with another female. The two of them were moving their horses from California, Southern California, up to Montana. So they're driving through the Bay Area. And luckily for us, she's like, hey, I'm gonna pull on the front of the truck with the tow with my truck. You guys are gonna bounce because it wasn't hitting the tires. So there was no way to get it to go forward. So she pulled it and we bounced it while Luke was in it, driving it. So Luke had to hit the gas. So I was bouncing on the back of it to get the tires to hit the ground so it'd shoot it off the edge. And I kid you not, it was a 3.5 foot maybe ledge where his car was teetering. So he shoots it off, and I was only afraid that he was going to drive it into the fucking Mountain Mike's Pizza because it was facing the Mountain Mike's Pizza. This dude, I kid you not, we hop it off. And he's like, oh, okay, we're good. I'll drive it home. I was like, what are you talking about? No,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You're not driving this thing home. I was like, give me your keys. So I take his keys. He's like, and then we get in the car, and he's like, wait, stop. We're getting ready to pull out the parking lot. Wait, stop. He runs back in and grabs his pizza.
Oh.
And then he's in my car, which I have a tendency to take care of my cars, clean floors, clean seats. This is all pre-kids. And this dude's making a mess all over with his Supreme Pizza all over my all over my car, everywhere. Cheese on the door, greasy fingers. Didn't grab napkins, so he's just wiping it on my dashboard, like just wiping his hands. He's so drunk. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I drive him all the way to Santa Cruz, drop him off, and he's literally trying to convince me to drop him off at a girl's house. I'm like, you can find a way to get there. I'm going to drop you off at home. I said, by the way, does she know you're coming? He's like, yeah, she knows. And I'm like, I don't believe you. So just tell me where you're at. So I had his address. His brother texted me his address. Like, hey, so I'll meet you down here and I'll take him up the road to their house. I was like, all right. So I drop him off. I kid you not, I left there at I ended up picking him up at 9:00 because the tournament ended around 8:30. I didn't get home until almost 1 a.m. And I'm like, I had to train the next day and all this stuff. I was like, you son of a bitch. But my boy got home safe. And but it's, to me, that's definitely hands down the funniest story.
Now let's cap it off here, because the two girls that helped you out to get out of that predicament, did Luke get one of their phone numbers or both of their phone numbers?
They were both in both in their 40s and 50s. And here Luke was like,
that's not gonna stop Luke.
No, it's not. But Luke was like, I think 26 at the time, something like that, 25, 26 at the time. But yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it was hilarious, man. That was one of those stories. I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is something and his brother texted me for like 2-3 days. And if you don't know anything about Luke's brother was a professional surfer. He was in the circuit and everything, really good surfer. So his brother's like reaching out to me, like calling me, like, hey, can you really help me, man? I'm like, bro, I got you, man. I got your boy.
That's awesome.
I got my little brother. I got him too. He's my little brother too. So
good
that
man.
guy, we've done a lot of things, traveling in the Bay and traveling down to LA and stuff. That guy not being able to find his hotel, he had to stay in my room. I'm like, bro, you're paying for this expensive hotel. You don't even know what room you're in. And didn't know how to get in, didn't have a key. So he just ended up crashing at my hotel. I was like, all right, whatever, man. Just wild times with that guy. Fun times, wild times. But all right, let's talk a little bit more about the card. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So Esteban Robovic versus Edson Barboza. We talked a little bit about earlier. How do you see this fight going?
Listen, man, I think unfortunately this is Esteban Robovic all day long. I like Edson Barboza, but in this type of matchup, man, it just doesn't favor him at 40 years old. So as much as that pains me, I think this may be the swan song. I think he's been talking about maybe this is about it. Dude is a legend. Gave us some incredible fights. But I just think this is a tough matchup for him, and I don't see it going his way.
Yeah, Edson's a plus 360. Esteban is a minus 470.
Wow, I didn't realize
That's
it was that.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. So yeah, when I look at that fight, I'm like, kind of where Edson is right now. Edson's one of those fighters that, like you said, is giving us great fights, but you could tell he's teetering on empty right now. People have kind of caught on to what he does well and how they can beat him. And being as old as he is, doesn't have the gas tank to really push as the fight goes on later on. So the cardio goes, it just the muscle fatigue and the power go. It doesn't really go, but just not as much pop to get it there. So you've got Vicente Luque and Treson Gore. I have yet to see Treson Gore in a bad fight. Very entertaining almost all the time. Knockdown, dragouts, win some, lose some, all of those things. Very fun. But does Vicente Luque still have something?
That's what we're going to find out, right? That's why kind of like if you look at the matchup on paper in just terms of just their records, right? If you didn't know the names and you're just like, wait, I got this like 30 plus fight veteran going against this like 10 fight guy that's kind of relatively new in his career, you'd be like, what was going on with the matchmaking here? But I kind of like the matchmaking in this one because you're right, man. I feel Treson Gore, coming off, some difficult performances, right? I mean, it looked like his career was maybe perhaps over, right? But he had a big win last time out. And it's a big moment, but does Vicente Luque still got it at this point? Because I don't know. I mean, he's 34, but it just feels like he's older than that, right? Like the body's been through some miles and he's kind of slowing down a little bit. So I'm intrigued by this fight, man. I think this is kind of a 50-50 type fight. You know what I mean? Treson Gore may not be the most talented guy, but I've always liked the guy, man. His faith and his dedication, man, and look, he's looking to do something. So this is a big moment for him. And Vicente Luque, if you don't like Vicente Luque, there's something wrong with you. Like, he's one of the nicest human beings on the planet. So 50-50 fight for me, man. I'm struggling on this one. I guess I'll go with the younger guy and Treson Gore just because, youth does mean something. And I feel like Vicente Luque has a ton of miles on that body. I mean, not that Gore's a young guy. He's just young in his career, in the miles in the body. So I guess I'll go with Treson Gore. But I feel like this is like a 50-50 type fight. If Vicente Luque still got it, he wins this fight.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he does.
Too much experience, I think, for Vicente Luque, but you never know which one's going to show up. Vicente, if he wrestles Treson Gore, if he's able to potentially get to the top position, I could see him getting the decision or getting a submission out of it. But Treson Gore, obviously, he's got power on his feet. He's hard to take down, not the easiest guy to kind of take down, in that mix there. So, look, either way, I agree with you about a 50-50 fight. Oralby versus Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells, what, 41, 42 years old, 40 years old, something like that?
This is a tough matchup. Jeremiah Wells, I like Jeremiah a lot too, man. He's a CFFC vet, so we came through the system. And he's a Marquez MMA guy. Obviously, I spent a lot of time out in Philadelphia, Atlantic City, East Coast with the CFFC crew. So, I like Jeremiah Wells a lot. This is a tough matchup. Miktabek Oralby is a very, very, very good fighter and a tough fighter. So, I'd love to see Wells get this done. Like you said, to be fighting at home in Philly. I mean, there wasn't enough Philly representation on this card. But he gets that opportunity. So happy for him. But this is a tough assignment. So I'd love to see him get the win. But this is a very, very tough assignment.
Why do you think that is? There's not enough Philly representation. I saw that Joe Pyfer is wrestling Luke Rockhold and Roth.
Yeah.
And he's not on this card. What's the holdup here?
Pyfer and Brady were two of the ones, obviously the big ones. I would have liked to seen Sabatini on there as well. Pyfer and Brady are a little more challenging just because of where they are in their careers, right? That's the hard part about the matchmaking too. Like when you get to a certain point in the rankings, you can't just fight anybody, right? It's not like, we'll just find somebody in the mix. Like, no, it's got to make sense rankings wise. It's got to make sense momentum wise and that sort of thing. So I'm bummed, man. I really, really would have liked to see those guys on there. I know it's a challenge. But yeah, I think ultimately the circumstances and situations made it challenging, but it would have been nice to see those guys on there.
Jalen Turner and Fernandez.
I like Jalen Turner a lot, man. I like Jalen Turner, man. A good dude. A guy that I knew when he retired still had a lot left. He took a little bit of time, kind of found himself, got some things right. And I think he's motivated, man. And I think he's in a different place in a mindset right now. So no disrespect to Kyle Fernandez. I like Jalen Turner as a person. I like him in this fight.
Joel Alvarez versus Chidi Njokuani.
Man, the Njokuani brothers, bro. Dallas. I'm a Dallas guy. I've been watching those guys forever, man, and cheering for him. But I like Joel Alvarez, man. I think that dude is dangerous. Listen, I think I'm glad that he's finally admitted that he is a welterweight and staying there. I think trying to cut down to lightweight was screwing his career for a long time. I don't know why he kept insisting on it. So I will always cheer for the Injaquani brothers, man. And Chidi, one of the best voices in the game. Like, that dude's got a future as like a voice actor or something like that. But Joel Alvarez, man, I like him in the spot, man. He's dangerous.
How many more fights do we have Neil Magny left? I mean, like, this guy seems to get a win every single time he gets in there, even though it's like matchup doesn't favor him. This is one of those fight. Brahamish is one of those guys that should beat him, but will he?
That's it. That's the great thing about Neil Magny, right? He is the quintessential like measuring stick, right? Like, he is that guy. Neil, I mean, fights everybody. I mean, look at Yaroslav Amosov, Carlos. I mean, they put him against everybody. So I agree. I think Brahimaj should win this fight, but you never know with Neil Magny, man. That dude is a professional. So I like Brahimaj, but if Neil Magny, turns back another contender, it would not. Dude, it is crazy. I'm looking at Magny's record right now, right? Like, bro, yeah, Amosov, and then you got Jake Matthews, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, Carlos Praches, Michael Morales, Mike Malott, Ian Machado Gary. Then you go down to Gilbert Burns, D-Rod, Shavkat. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's fought them all.
Everybody.
The crazy part is he got some wins against him. He got some losses against him, which is wild, right? It's a mixed bag.
Unbelievable, man. This dude, I got a lot of respect for Neil Magny, man.
I agree with you 100%, man. Neil Magny's awesome, man. I love watching him fight stylistically on the feet. He's not bad on the ground. He's good at getting back to the feet. He's hard to take down because he's so tall, long, and lanky. All those things. So Mansour Abdul Malik versus Thomson. How do you see this fight going?
Mansour is an absolute problem, man. That dude is a specimen. Obviously he's coming off a setback. But Yusuri is dangerous as well. So I like Mansour in this fight. I think this is a good bounce back spot for him right here, and keep that name. Even though he's had a draw, he's had a loss, he's had a couple setbacks early, like that. I kind of feel like that dude got to the UFC a little too quick. You know what I mean? So I hate that he has to kind of develop in the UFC, but that's the path that he has. He's here now and he's not going anywhere. But that dude has huge potential. He's probably going to have some, he's already had some hurdles along the way, but you can see the future there. So I like this one.
Well, that was very similar to what happened with Cain Velasquez. The word got out that Cain was beating up Paul Bonatello, Mike Kyle, LeVar Johnson, and those guys in AKA. And they're like, all right, well, nobody wants to fight him. You got guys, Paul Bonatello's getting ready to fight for the UFC title. Mike Kyle's knocking out guys, and beating them in Strikeforce and then going to the UFC. He's already been in the UFC. And then you're saying like he's giving them a run for their money and controlling them. LeVar Johnson was in Strikeforce as well, and he had some success. So these are all very big guys, and this guy's just handling them. Like he's sparring all three of them in one session. And then you had Mark Ellis, who was a national champ out of Missouri, who was training with us as well, and he was handling him as well. And so when you tally all that up, and then media started coming just to watch him train, be like, damn, it's true. It really is true. Nobody wanted to fight him. Every small promotion we tried to get Cain Velasquez in, no one wanted to fight him. We put him on the strike. I say we as if I had something to do with it. Yeah, Scott Coker put him on the Strikeforce card. That was his very first fight ever, but it took them forever to match him up. So he ended up being the very first fight on the card. So unfortunately, because it was a very dominant performance, but no one would fight him. So he couldn't even get a fight for his very first fight. Then he went on to fight over in Bodog. He had a couple fights over there, had success over there, made it kind of look easy. Then he got signed to the UFC. But I can understand, man. Abdul Malik, though, very talented, built like a specimen. Like all the things that kind of keep other fighters kind of timid around. I'm like, let's not take that fight yet. Let's wait till we get a little bit more money, or let's wait till we get a little higher up in the ranks and there's a little bit more risk. And my take is fight him now while he's young. So you can get it out of the way, get that win or get that loss quickly, move on with the rest of your career. Because you don't want to fight him when he has a little bit more experience.
He's going to be a problem later on. There's no question about that, man. There's no question. So, keep that name in the Rolodex in your memory, because he's going to be somebody in a couple years.
Hey, there's a little something going around right now that I want. That's going to wrap up our UFC 350 or 330 talk. I just real quick wanted to talk to you. There was a video of who is the girl that does the stuff for the UFC.
Oh, Nina Drama?
Nina Drama. Mm-hmm. Her and Dana are doing a video. They're in Ireland. And did we talk about this last week?
No.
They're doing a video together. And she goes, why is there no ring girls? And he's like, well, you're not gonna believe this shit. He's like, you can't have ring girls here unless you have ring guys.
That's weird. That's weird. I mean, I don't know how much truth. I'm assuming somebody's verified that is accurate and that sort of thing. But man,
that's from Dana's what? That's from Dana's mouth.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That is bizarre.
That's weird. When did they start? I wonder when they started implementing that because Bellator was in Ireland all the time. That was in Ireland. So, and it says right here, it says octopus with no friends. Turns out that was complete bullshit lie. No, not accurate. That was in Ireland. I don't know. People are commenting saying it's not accurate, but it doesn't seem like something Dana would just make up out of the blue. So there had to have been some sort of hiccup.
Somebody told him. Like, here's the thing: is sometimes here's what I think some people don't understand. Dana has a lot going on, right? So there are times that he says stuff and it's inaccurate, but it's not because he's like just making shit up. It's somebody told him something or he heard something in the conversation or what have you. You know what I mean? So I did think that was weird when I heard it. I did see that video going around and immediately I was like, that can't be right. Like I remember, like you said, Bellator events, UFC events in Ireland and the UK. I didn't remember it being a thing. So I think he misspoke. I don't know what the genesis behind that was or what, what the information was, but dude's got a lot going on. Dude's involved in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, cut the guy some slack, right? I'm willing to cut him a little bit of slack on that. Look, there's obviously something that happened between them and the commissions. Probably they couldn't agree on something, and they're like, "Yeah, well, fuck it, you can't have ring girls then." And he's like, "Damn it! All right, well, fuck it, whatever." Let's two fights I want to talk about real quick. Did we ever talk about Moicano and Brian Ortega? Brian Ortega going up to 155. That fight happening. That is a great fight.
I love it. It's a great fight because there's not a lot of other matchups that make sense to that I got to see right now. You know what I mean? I heard some people saying, why are we running this back? I like it stylistically. And at this point, stylistically, it's a lot of fun, right? Like you hope you get to see some jiu-jitsu scrambles out of those two, but there's just not a lot going on with either of those two that need to be. So I like the fight. I really do like the fight.
Yeah, I like that fight as well. I think it's going to be a good fight. Is his grappling going to be good enough to kind of weather Moicano's grappling, or will Moicano be physically stronger because he's been at 155 for longer? So there's a lot of little things that I'm interested in, and how will the stand-up match up? And will Moicano, will he be afraid to take him to the ground and get on top because of T-City? Triangle City, right? Like T-City. So will T-City have that triangle still in that back pocket? Can he get it done against Moicano? There's a lot. That's a fun fight for me. Very interesting. Brian Ortega moving up to 55. That's exciting to me. We've noticed that fighters perform better without killing themselves and making the weight. Hopefully he performs better and getting up there. We have seen a lackluster guy though lately, the last 4 or 5 fights. Sometimes shows up, sometimes doesn't, sometimes half-ass. I think that is all gonna go by its side now because he doesn't have to kill himself to make 155. Well,
that's the question, right? Is because you're right. We've seen success moving up. I like the idea of guys moving up and not killing themselves, but are they letting it go? You know what I mean? Is it moving up because like, oh no, I don't have to watch the diet quite as much, or I don't have to, I don't have to work out quite as much. That's good. Or is it because like, nah, man, I'm just not gonna do this cut. I'm gonna build on some muscle. I'm gonna improve myself. Because when T-City's at his best, man, that dude's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm gonna share this real quick because I want to share this screen because I thought this was actually pretty cool. Let me see if I can pull this. Whoops, I didn't pull it up yet. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, let me see if I can get it. Sorry, guys.
Producing on the fly.
I know. I didn't actually think we were gonna do this one, but I had to do it. So let's go ahead and
let's bring it. Let's
see. Let me go ahead and share this.
Josh Thomson figuring it out. There you go.
There we
go. Haven't seen this.
You haven't seen this? This is your boy.
Mark, are you ready?
Go.
Fight.
And Mark Zuckerberg sparring on a lake somewhere. Zuck get the takedown.
Don't stop.
Nice body kick. Oh, Zuck going kind of hard, man.
Oh,
this guy's tough.
This guy's tough.
Rob made me take my shirt off because it looks more fighter.
Beautiful.
They're getting after it.
I got respect.
There it is. There it is. Oh, I'm waiting for him to do it.
Yep. Firefight. Let's go. Let's go. Oh.
Get him.
Go.
Oh. Nice dump.
Man, let's do this every day.
But
I thought that was fantastic, man.
Marab's giving him a good look, man. I like it. Marab's not playing out there. He's giving us some good looks. No, I like it, man. I hadn't seen the video. I'd seen it circling around, but I hadn't taken the time to watch it. I like it, man. And I know people are hating on Zuck and technology and say what I don't know. I don't even know all that. Like, I just live inside the MMA bubble, so I don't know. But just do, bro. That's the purpose of wealth right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you build money like that, you go do stuff like that. You spend your days enjoying yourself. Mad respect to him. I love the fact that he's getting in there and doing it, man.
Absolutely. I think he's turned a corner on what being a man is really about. Learning how to defend yourself, learning how to protect your family, learning how to train with multiple people. Don't shy away from things like this. I mean, you might be the man over in the IT area or the AI world and all that other shit, but guess what? That's Marab's world, but Marab doing a great job, letting him work, getting some stuff in. I thought it was great. Hey, I want to say a special thanks and welcome to the Wayne and YouTube family here. What is it? Crick Sis 2103. Welcome to the membership, and I appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining the YouTube channel. Guys, any questions you guys have real quick? Zuck is becoming a man. Exactly what I just said. Yep. Finally lifted the skirt and grabbed the balls and let's go, baby. Loved it. Anything else for you there, John?
No, I'll just throw out, like I said, man, I'm excited about Contender Series tonight. Bilal Hassan, if you've watched CFFC at all, man, like, this dude has star quality, man. Not just the fighting style, which is great. I mean, he's well-rounded. He's incredible. He's entertaining, but he's great on the mic. He's great on social media. So just, he's got to go out there and get it done tonight. Obviously, nothing's given to you on Dana White's Contender Series, but pay attention tonight to Bilal Hassan. And then Friday night, man, I know it's all about the UFC in Philadelphia, but yeah, Lazy Bet, appreciate you. CFFC 159, 2300 Arena in Philadelphia this Friday night, exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. It's stacked. We got a 9-fight main card on Fight Pass because obviously everybody wanted the opportunity to compete in front of the matchmakers. They're going to be in the building that night. Christian Bobby, who lost his title fight a month ago because his opponent was 10 pounds over, is back in the main event facing Adam Moises, so he gets a big opportunity, but it's stacked all the way up. And we actually had some news that really unfolded literally just before we got on this. But Christian Turner was supposed to fight against a guy named Tyler Grimsley. Tyler Grimsley, unfortunately, got injured, had to withdraw. Sucks for him, right? But what happens is an undefeated Semender Muradov, who's 11-0, people turn him down all the time. Christian Turner says, I'll take that guy. I'll move up a weight class on short notice. I got it. So it was originally a lightweight fight. He's moving up to welterweight to fight an undefeated. And you just know, I don't even have to tell you. I just said the name Semender Muradov. You're like, yeah, that dude's probably pretty good. And you know what I mean? This dude is, I'm telling you right now, we've been trying to matchmake this guy for a year or whatever. And he just gets turned down over and over and over. And so for Christian Turner to take him on short notice and up a weight class is pretty cool. So
when your last name is with Doff.
Yeah, it's right. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I'm telling you right now, you send the offer and people are just like, nope. And like, did you watch the tape? Did you actually? No, like, absolutely not.
Didn't care to. No.
Just saw the Russian last name and saw that he's 11-0 and said, nah, I'm good.
Nah, we're good. Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, that's CFFC this weekend. CFFC 159 live from 2300 Arena in Philly this Friday, exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. Make sure you guys click that link down below if you guys want to check it out. And also, too, Lazy Bet doing the Lord's work out here. Weighing in channel memberships, well worth the price. As we found out, we got a new member tonight. Hey, and also, too, we'll be doing a member debate with Alejandro Gutierrez probably tomorrow or Friday. But that will be recorded, and I will drop it before the fights because we're going to talk about the actual UFC 330 with him as well. So, and last but not least, let's go ahead and keep this thing going as it normally is. And I'm going to leave you guys. Saturday mornings used to mean coffee and sidelines. Now it's game time for all of us. We're running drills, chasing goals, and yeah, trying to keep up with each other. Soccer, lacrosse, doesn't matter. What matters is we're doing it together. But here's the thing I didn't expect. Training with your kids, it hits different. You sweat more, you push harder. If you're not careful, you could burn yourself out. That's why I started bringing Element. No sugar, no junk, just electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, so you can stay sharp, stay moving, and stay in the game. Because when your kids look over and say, come on, Dad, keep up, you don't want to sit this one out. You want to be right there with them. Hydration isn't just about performance. It's about showing up. For them, for yourself, for moments like this. Element.
Stay salty.